It is a Friday and the very last day of the month of January 2025. We do appreciate your time here on the Uganda Catholic Television. I am Sunday Gloria Abwaj with UCTV News, starting with the Supreme Court of Uganda that has ruled that trying civilians in the military court-martial is unconstitutional. In a landmark judgment, Chief Justice Alfonso Winyidolo, leading a panel of 7 justices, ordered the transfer of all ongoing and pending civilian cases to ordinary courts with competent jurisdiction. The ruling stemming from the Attorney General versus Honorable Michael Kabazuguruka case emphasized that the General Court Martial lacks independence and professional judicial expertise, compromising the right to a fair trial.
In the event, I will make the following declarations. 1. The Summary Trial Authority, STA, and the Unit Disciplinary Committee, UDC, are respectfully, lawfully established under Sections 191 and 192, now 189 and 190, and Section 195, now 193, of the UPDF Act as military tribunals. 2. The provision of Section 197, now 195, of the UPDF Act establishing the General Court Martial as a competent court is constitutional. 3. The General Court Martial created under Section 197, now 195 of the UPDF Act is a subordinate court of law, but with specialized jurisdiction. 4. The provisions of Section 179, 1 and 2, now 177, 1 and 2 of the UPDF Act, read together with Section 197, 2, now 195, 2, which grant the subordinate military courts jurisdiction over capital offenses, contravene Article 129, 1D and Article 126, 1 of the Constitution, hence they are unconstitutional. 5. The provisions of Section 191, 3, which is now Section 189, 3A, and Section 195, 3 and 4, now 193, 3 and 4, read together with Section 179, now 177 of the UPDF Act, which grants this STA and the UDC the exercise of judicial power of detention and imprisonment of any person tried by them, contravene Articles 23, 126, 1, and 129, 1D of the Constitution. Hence, they are unconstitutional. 6. The provisions of the UPDF Act constituting and providing for the trial procedure of the General Court Martial, the Division Court Martial, and the Court Martial Appeal Court do not contain any or sufficient constitutional guarantees and safeguards for them to exercise their judicial functions with independence and impartiality, which is a prerequisite for fair hearing provided for under Articles 21, 28.1, 44C, and 128.1 of the Constitution. The provisions of Section 1191G, now 1171G of the UPDF Act, under which the respondent, a civilian, was charged and arraigned in the General Court Martial, contravenes Article 28.1, 44C, and 21 of the Constitution. Hence, it is unconstitutional. The provision of Section 1191G, now 1171G, is unconstitutional to the extent that it permits trial in the courts martial of civilians who have allegedly aided and abetted the commission of a crime, of a service offense rather, or ordinary criminal offense in which a person subject to military law is a principal offender. 9. Sections 2, 179, 119, 1H and G, now respectively Sections 1, 177, 117, 1H and G of the UPDF Act are unconstitutional since they confer blanket jurisdiction on courts martial to try civilians. The jurisdiction conferred by Section 2, 179, and 191H, now Sections 177, 117, 1H of the UPDF Act on the General Court Martial to try persons subject to military law for civil and non-disciplinary offenses committed in Uganda is unconstitutional, as they contravene Articles 209 and 210 of the Constitution. I would accordingly propose the following orders. The declaration of the Constitutional Court that Section 1191G, now 1171G of the UPDF Act, which provides that any person not otherwise subject to military law who aids or abets a person subject to military law in the commission of a service offense is constitutional, is hereby set aside. All charges or ongoing criminal trials or pending trials before the courts martial involving civilians must immediately cease and be transferred. Order. I'm going to chase you out. This is not cloud 9 where you can...
Now, lawyers and opposition activists are calling for the immediate release of all political prisoners and civilians facing charges in the General Court Martial following the Supreme Court's ruling that the Court Martial is merely a military disciplinary body with no jurisdiction over civilians. They are urging the Uganda People's Defense Force leadership to comply with the court's decision and unconditionally free all civilians detained under military prosecution.
First and foremost, it is not a win for me, Michael Kabazi-Biruka. It is a win for the people of Uganda. It is a win for the democracy-seeking forces in this country, because the GCM has hitherto been used as a tool to fight anyone that is opposed to the bad leadership of General Yoweri Museveni.
Abantu abali mu makomera ku biragiro bya court martial oba kooti y'amagye nga bwe badde bagiyita okuva n'essaawa eno si lwaleero naye kati ku ssaawa eno baliyo mu bumenyi bw'amateeka n'abalina emisango gyonna egibadde gibavunaanibwa mu kooti y'amagye gyonna gisaziddwamu. Baba bakyayagala obavunaana babagambye nti fayiro ezo bazitwale mu kooti eza bulijjo. Abo ababadde basingisibwa emisango egyo nga baajulira oba nga bateekateeka okujulira babagambye nti bagende mu kooti zino eza bulijjo zeetegereze ensala yaabwe nga bwe yakolebwamu, ziddemu zibawulirize mu ngeri ey'obukugu. N'olwekyo tubawa amagezi, tubawabula tetubasaba. Ebiro by'okubasaba byaggwawo. Free Dr. Kizza Besigye, free Haji Obed Lutale, free Counsel Aaron Kizza, free all political prisoners remanded, our NUP brothers and sisters, and those other civilians remanded on orders of this kangaroo outfit.
We are glad that the Supreme Court has listened to the voices of Ugandans over time, because the people of Uganda have spoken again and again, and it's important that when people speak, the courts get to listen. We are also glad that it's not just civilians that have benefited from this, but even serving military officers, because a number of them have been persecuted through the General Court Martial, and they had no recourse anywhere. They could not appeal. Because you see, the General Court Martial, they are the complainants, then they are the prosecutors in the General Court Martial. They are the ones that sit on the panel, the tribunal, to determine a matter. When you appeal to, again, a team of military fellows it becomes problematic, and they also execute the same sentences. Our hope is that now this court order will be followed with immediacy, because many times courts of law issue orders and they're disregarded. People have been freed on bail and they're arrested within court precincts. Many times we've had General Museveni say, you courts, you want to take us back to those days, and that kind of thing. Our hope is that the court order will be respected with immediacy.
Era ku Monday kooti tegenda kutuula, teteekeddwa kutuula, teriyo. So kuba kati balangiridde nti kooti terina buyinza. In fact kino bw'okitaputa kiraga nti kooti eno bagisattuludde, kubanga etteeka lya UPDF erigiteekawo bagambye limenya mateeka obuwaayiro bwonna, kisigadde kiwowongole. Era ne bagamba muddeeyo, bwe muba mukyajagala kooti mutereeze etteeka, mukole etteeka eddala erya UPDF eriteekawo ekooti endala. Kati eno eya Freeman Mugabe gye bagambye eriko abatamanyi mateeka, abatagasoma, tekuli n'omu asobola gataputa. Bagigambye temuddamu kutuula, temuddamu kukola kintu kyonna. So ku Monday bwana Freeman Mugabe agenda akola ebirala.
And now, away from that, the Jubilee of the world of communications brought together journalists, media professionals, managers and editors of newspapers, video makers who work in Catholic media houses to Rome to deliberate on the Jubilee of communication themed Pilgrims of Hope. Now, Uctv shared the experiences of young communicators.
This experience, being at the Jubilee of the world of communications, has been really an eye-opening experience to be here in Rome for the first celebration of the Jubilee, which was the Jubilee of Comms. It's very special because we are here with other young professionals from all over the world, being able to meet amongst each other, all from the same realities, but also very different realities, really can help us see the universality of our church.
For me, the thing I'm taking out from here is the experience of being with other faith communicators from around the world, having the sense of communion, which actually opened us to sharing, listening to one another, and being able to get to know the other person, and also get to have the sense of the fact that we are all in this together. We are all working for and working with God, on this journey. So for me, it's the experience, of that shared reality.
Well, my name is Barbara. I'm from Chile, living now in Spain. This is my second time here in Rome, but the first time being a pilgrim. My experience participating in the World Communication Jubilee has been amazing because I have discovered myself. I have found out that the first action for being a good communicator is being a good listener, and also the first action of communicating is a divine action, comes from God actually. So for me as a communicator, but first as a Christian, it is a call for listen to the word of God if I truly want to bring hope in my profession. So I'm super happy to be here. I hope I can continue this pilgrim in my own place, in my own country, and who knows the fruits. I trust in God. I can help a lot of people and to glorify God from who I am.
Hola a todos, soy Jorge de Ecuador, tengo 28 años. La verdad es que haber estado en este jubileo mundial de comunicaciones ha sido una experiencia bastante enriquecedora. Personalmente, un mensaje que medité durante todo el fin de semana que duró el encuentro fue el tema de permanecer en el amor de Dios como palabra, el hecho de comunicar lo que Él nos pide y llevarlo a través de historias, porque al final del día el Evangelio es una historia, la mejor historia del mundo, a otras personas. Y al hacerlo, involucrarnos también en las historias personales de cada persona, porque al final del día todos somos hermanos de un mismo Padre. Y un mensaje que quisiera darle a todas las personas que participaron y que algún día quisieran participar de eventos parecidos es que sinceramente al terminar, la esperanza es muy grande y estamos llenos de energía, pero llegarán como momentos algo complicados, duros, y en esos momentos es cuando debemos permanecer en el amor de Jesús, ser capaces de perseverar y, como dice San Francisco de Sales, que fue un santo que visitamos en estos días, ser pacientes con todas las cosas, pero sobre todo con nosotros mismos. Entonces, muchas gracias por estar viendo esto y deseo que les permita inspirarse y sobre todo permanecer en el amor de Dios a través de su palabra. Gracias.
You're watching Uctv News. Now, Father Vincent Muhindo, the rector of St. Paul's National Major Seminary in Kinyamasika, Fort Portal, Uganda, delivered our Jubilee message from Vatican City, encouraging Christians to embrace the 2025 as a year of Jubilee by becoming instruments of hope in their daily lives.
Dear brothers and sisters and people of God, I welcome you to this St. Peter's Square in the Vatican in Rome. As you can see, the doors of this church are open. This is a Jubilee year of hope. My message to all of us is that we should be instruments of the hope that comes to us from God. As the doors are open for these churches, different churches, and right here in the St. Peter's Square, I appeal to all of us to open our hearts, that our hearts should be open to allow people to come and find a source of hope for their lives. Where hope has been lost because of the troubles of this world, we are invited to have our hearts open so that people may find new life in us. And I appeal to everybody that as Christians, let us have our hearts open to God, because God is the source of our hope. Our hope sometimes can rely on technology, on our money, but the true hope is that the hope that comes from the fact that Jesus Christ has died for us, and He is our hope, He's our way, and He's our light, and He's our truth. So I'm appealing to all of us, my dear Christians, that let us open our hearts, like the doors are open, and allow Christ to come in to give us the hope that the future will always be better, and to make us also instruments of the promotion of this hope among the youth and among the people. To my seminarians in Uganda and everywhere, but specifically those of St. Paul's National Major Seminary in Kinyamasika, Fort Portal, I also give you the same message. As the semester begins very soon and the doors will be open to the gate, come in knowing that you are coming to meet Christ, who is our hope, and that you are coming for formation so that you may be the hope of the church in Africa, church in Uganda, and the church in the whole world. May God bless you and keep you safe in everything you do. And once again, may this year, Jubilee year of hope, be a year that will make our lives different from usual and give us new hopes and a new reason.
It is time now for Today in History. It's a wrap-up for the Friday edition of Uctv News. I am Sanjay Gloria Abuch, and I wish you the very best of the weekend.